Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reacts where today we have ourselves a track from an act named The Ascended titled The Damned and the Betrayed, and if we switch over to here we've got ourselves a track here on YouTube, the official video for it. Apparently this is off of the upcoming EP titled The Damned and the Betrayed, and apparently they're also going to be touring Australia and New Zealand. They're from Melbourne, Australia, so it seems like they've got a lot on their plate for this year, which is awesome, and we're going to listen through this track from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's do it, let's go, what have we got? Fantastic force behind it. Great mixture of melodic and the grittier kind of vocals there. Press switch to halftime here. Oh, that reverb tail. Yeah, no. It's very pensive how the guitar comes out like that, those harmonized guitars there. I appreciate a lot of what's going on here, and we're going to talk about it more in the conclusion. And so welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named The Ascended titled The Damned and the Betrayed. In this section I'm going to be providing an overall song analysis of everything from sort of vocals through to the production side of things, as well as any applicable constructive critique, and then finally my general thoughts from a listener's perspective. But first of all, what do we think this track is about? I think this track is about all those people who are sort of struggling just to cope with the prison that they're in, beaten down and bruised and frustrated, and yeah, damned and betrayed. It's them calling out from the ashes, the ether, the darkness, as per the video. It's a really compelling audiovisual experience, and I just feel like however way we spoke or sung or kind of screamed or growled at the audience, you know, keep bearing in mind I'm a fan of this kind of music, despite the fact that I'll try and be unbiased about it. It's just, it mirrors expression wise so well. It's just that aggression with the vocal technique there. And by the way, very solid vocal technique with the growls and the kind of those harsher sort of vocal fries there. You got to be really careful with that kind of grittier technique, because if you don't do it correctly, you'll destroy your vocal cords. You'll destroy this part and you just won't be able to continue doing it. It seems like they've got a sustainable way of doing it. It's so visceral and so potent, and it hits you, and it's not immediately completely like you need to pay attention really closely, because it's not always easy to understand all the words that come through in here, but it's like kind of like the force of it. And if you think about the difficulties that they're going through, it makes sense just from an actual practical perspective that it's not necessarily completely easy to understand. Like it seems like they're kind of figuring things out for themselves as well. They're just trying to find some sort of light in the darkness, not to be too sort of like cheesy about it. But I do like the clean vocal melodies that we have in those chorus sections there. It's just an inherently sensible way to make a chorus more compelling, to provide additional coloration within the mix. And there are these wonderfully kind of really pretty like dual guitar melody kind of like harmonies going on there, and a lot of parts of this, and that more sort of traditional metalcore style that reminds me a lot of the late 2000s, early 2010s stuff. But just adding that extra bit of color in the chorus is a bit more kind of flair and fire in the piece there. And I feel like we have a lot of the kind of harsher vocals in that verse section, and there's a lot of, again, some interesting chord choices and progressions. And there's also the chunk and the groove of the drums and the rhythm parts and the sort of palm mutes and all that as well, to sort of contrast that, to kind of have a bit more kind of like aggression to the rhythm section outside of those kind of like major minor triads or intervals. But I do think this is, and we do have like vibrato, and there's like solid, we're very comfortable in our head and chest voice for those vocal melodies. We've got power behind it and presence, and it sounds kind of epic because we're very sort of like aware of how to project. We're very much trying to make this a singly kind of single, and I don't mean that as if to say it was a detriment, because it's not. There's a lot of really sort of insensible decisions compositionally here, but we're really trying to get those hook lines, so they're being repeated quite a lot. And I think if you think about again what they're trying to sort of ascribe here, they really need you to know the struggle that they're going through. They want people to sing along to it, and I can imagine it is it's very easy to sing along to. I was becoming familiar after listening through it a few times, but it never got to the point where it was overdone, in part because of the variety with the actual instrumental components within the piece itself. I just feel like there was enough range there compositionally and within the performance to be able to not, again, have it overplayed. With different verses and choruses and like a solo section as well, where both guitarists got involved there, like other sort of instrumental parts. It's just great. It's, it's like a middle eight-ish kind of thing, I think, as well, if I'm not mistaken. We made great use of the 3.5 minutes. And the moment you come in with that title card, the Damned and the Betrayed, and you got the kind of the vinyl crackle there, you're going through a tale as old as time. And we just have this immediate kind of like, this heel turn to, we're getting serious about this. When we come in with a full drum kit around that sort of 5 to 8 second mark there, the double kicks, the crashes, the hi-hats, the snares are just popping in the mix, and we're very comfortable on the drum kit with our quarters, 8s and 16s. There's a wide variety of different grooves and chops through this with some really interesting fill passages, and we're very comfortable going between normal time as well as half time to kind of slow things down and make things a bit more sort of like weighted there to slow the listener down as well. And the guitars are just, especially the rhythm parts, are just so tightly kind of bonded to a lot of those double kick patterns there, even some of the gallops there. And even when we sort of separate ourselves from needing to be clinical with the approach to the chugs and not on the pick stuff, we add these kind of discordant, uncomfortable it's like the Phrygian mode, like the Phrygian chords or the flat second, and it's just intense and very dramatic there, and it makes sense considering the subject matter. Just harmonically, it's as heavy as it is, and texturally and with the percussion. But of course, that's after we have that really wonderful neoclassical kind of guitar lead there. I should note that we do have that da-da-da-da-dum. It immediately implicates the kind of metal that we might be going for, the kind of dual guitar kind of like metalcore harmonized stuff going with the major and minor intervals there. And then we kind of da-da-da-da-dum, and it finishes on a minor, which immediately lets you know, hey, no, this is not a happy joy piece. We're not going for power metal here. This is going to be something completely different. To have the clean vocals come in with the do-do-do-do-do-do-do on those lead guitars in the upper register was really neat. It was nice to have a bit of additional color on the guitar subleads as well there, just to really sort of make it a little bit more sort of epic sounding and resounding, and kind of of add less of a low end sort of like emphasis in terms of what we have with other parts there. We're really kind of trying to bond and fill that frequency spectrum. And we have some really pretty sort of like sub leads as well, not just doing those sort of pedal note orients, but also doing some like the use of vibrato on other parts to kind of make it more sort of like balladesque is kind of neat. But we don't stay away from the chug and the heaviness too long, because after that chorus section we then have the double kicks being very, very constant, whilst we repeat certain riffs we've had before to tie the track together and establish a connection between the different bits. In some parts we're very, very comfortable just having the bass tone there, and the bass is thick and full without being overwhelming in the piece. I kind of appreciate that we haven't made the bass too kind of like kicking your head in with this track, because of the amount of flavor we have in the mid-range there. It kind of sets a precedent knowing it's enough in that low end, because the guitars aren't trying to compete with that too much. That's as much of a composition thing as well as a production thing. In that kind of breakdown section we have around the 1:50 mark, we have some tapped elements there, and it's just nice to sort of have a connection to some of the chorus parts as we show like a different direction from the vocalist, and there's just this space with the rhythm and drum kit that we didn't maybe have before. There's these mix-ups of different kind of rhythmic phrasings there that kind of make it sound a bit more sort of sophisticated than it otherwise might if we had everything just kind of exactly in unison there. Just like things are maybe not totally organized and a little bit chaotic, but like the chaos sounds kind of pretty, even with a bit of menace again with those kind of flat second parts. And as we build on that with upper sort of like level guitar parts up on the fretboard there, and we sort of decorate and further sort of like explore the possibilities in terms of what we can do aside from just again doing the down-chugged kind of power chords and stuff like that. We know we're sort of developing into something bigger, where we come into those guitar section, the guitar solo parts. And I like that for a lot of the guitar solo, it's relatively accessible and not too over the top. I think when you have a lot of the song being very kind of quarter, eighth, or even 16th oriented rhythmically there, you can get away with a shred like we had at the end, that a kind of blues, kind of pentatonic, like whittling and kind of stuff. And that sounds great. But like having that kind of release at the end is just a nice sort of quote unquote big finish. It's not like, if we had the entire time like that, I think it might have just sounded a little bit too chaotic, or even like the guitars were trying to be more important with the vocals or the message if we'd had that. Like it was like if they had been fast and kind of technical and kind of like virtuosic the entire time, it just would have seemed like this was more of a foundation for the guitarists to do what they could do, as opposed to a cohesive kind of like piece of art. But to come off of that like last sort of like big bend and to go into that middle eight there with the reinforcement to the chorus, and then to like go into that final kind of chorus section is really sensible. And to allow the instrumental parts to finish, the lead guitars, rhythms, bass and drums there after the final kind of shout out, it's just allowing the other members of the band to have their time in the sun. And I think there's an awareness that we've said as much as we really want to say by that point, and we're just finishing the concept at that end, and it just kind of fades out and we've had a good time. Again, thematically, you know, what we're discussing is the antithesis of a good time. They're clearly struggling, they're damned and betrayed, getting trodden on, getting broken, etc. But I think they're trying to more sort of suggest with the power of the music, with the minor levels and the sort of menace for some of those sort of scale choices or mode choices like the Phrygian, they're trying to suggest that they're going to continue to fight past that situation anyways, but they're not wanting to sort of like accept that suffering is the normal. They're kind of understanding or appreciating or showing an awareness of where they're at, but that they want to get out of that. And I think what we do there, how, you know, like in terms of the chord progressions, the style of music with the harshness of the distortions, you know, like the tile of drums with the percussion and the heaviness of a lot of elements there, is we're showing the kind of atmosphere where we are now, but that we're driving towards something better there. And I think that's where a lot of the glow of the mid-range and the vocals pump you up and you want to get involved and do something more. And I just think I love the energy around that. It seems very authentic, and it's just great, you know, without a note out of place. It's just a very tight performance. And I just feel like if they tried to add more with this, they just kind of nailed it within the 3.5 minute mark. I'm sure they could write longer form factor tracks, but this is very good. Studio recording, mixing and mastering is fantastic. It's good. It's really good. There were some parts where like some of the tom patterns just seemed like they were maybe like panned like a little bit too far to the left or something like that. Like I'm just but that's just a very kind of like slight nitpick there. I could hear all the different like there was like a tom that's quite far to the left and we're kind of then quite far to the right, if that makes sense. It's just me being very sort of picky on it. That's Like, that's literally the extent of any applicable constructive critique, and even then it's a subjective thing. It could just be these headphones. But like the vocal layers were there, or the clean parts, or the kind of like harsher, kind of grittier kind of vocal growls and stuff like that, the guitar, bass, and drums, everything like that was wonderfully sort of present within the mix. There were no weird resonant frequencies within the frequency spectrum. The music's around you in headphones. It had dynamic range to it, compositionally as well as performance, and in terms of the production side, but it also wasn't too squeezed. It was still heavy though, nice and loud, a little bit of pumping, but not too much. Completely suitable for the genre. Very, very happy with the tone of it. And I think also I should note that maybe that was just a deliberate panning choice, like with the toms I mentioned, because the vocals can be kind of going from left to right as well. And that call and response, I didn't mention this, there were like call and responses with the vocal takes panning wise, which were really cool. So it wasn't just that we had the cleans. It wasn't just that we had the kind of growled, kind of harsher vocal styles. It was that we also experimented with the placement of things and went backwards and forwards, and we just had a great time with it. So I like how things are panned. I think that on just listening back to it, a lot of the stuff was really, really good. So yeah, from a general listener's perspective, I think this is just I've said sensible a few times here. Songs like this, where it helps you to relate to an audience who might be going through similar stuff, are just smart songs to make, as long as they're authentic and you genuinely mean it. Because the moment that an audience sniffs out that it's just BS, no one's going to want to know you. And I get the feeling with the Ascended, how they communicate, how they express themselves, the kind of music they make, they genuinely give a shit. So I'm thankful I got the chance to listen to it. I wish them all the best of luck with their music, as well as the upcoming release of their EP and their tour. And thank you very much for watching my review of this track from an act named The Ascended, titled The Damned and the Betrayed, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via the various social medias and the YouTube page. Stay cool, stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the great stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next SP Reacts. Spiderhands out.